Hello everyone, welcome to today's Halloween review. Today we'll be having a look at The Werewolf versus the Vampire Woman, as campy a title as possible, given to the movie that truly lives up to the description. With that said, let's grab some marshmallows and sit around the fire while we settle into the camp. The movie opens with the corpse of a man on a table in two corners discussing whether or not he is or isn't a werewolf. To prove he isn't one of them removes the two silver bullets that were inside of him. When he doesn't immediately revive, they laugh at the notion of werewolves, only to have their jest cut short by the werewolf transforming and slaughtering the pair. We cut to two college students, Elvira and Genevieve, who are discussing completing their final thesis. They've researched the whereabouts of the tomb of Countess Wandessa de Ardevel de Nadaste, a woman who was supposed to have been a vampire. As they prepare to leave, they speak with Elvira's boyfriend, an inspector, who is leaving on business. Good thing he's seen plenty of James Bond films to help him out. Yeah, that's actually a thing, he says. As the girls travel to the tomb of the vampire, they run out of gas and stop at the ruins that her tomb is supposed to be in. They explore the ruins to come across Waldemar, who invites them to stay at his home for the next few days till his handyman can bring them into town for gas. While the three eat dinner, Waldemar reveals that he's writing a book about the history of Gothic churches and monuments of the area, but he falls silent when Elvira mentions her purpose of coming to the area is finding Wandessa's grave. After the girls go to sleep, Elvira is awakened from her sleep when Waldemar's sister Elizabeth breaks into the room, gropes her, then tries to choke her. When she fails, she warns the girls to leave before the night of the full moon. The next morning, Waldemar explains to Elvira that Elizabeth lost her mind after the death of their father, but that she is basically harmless. Genevieve explores Waldemar's home and comes across his shack with blood on the walls and shackles hanging from the ceiling. Elizabeth attacks her and knocks her out. The girls become paranoid about the shack and the attack, but Waldemar explains that the shackles are used for animals that he's caught for butchering. Waldemar then warns Elizabeth to leave the girls alone because they are his last hope. Later, Elvira, Genevieve, and Waldemar go looking for Wandessa's tomb. When they find it, Elvira leaves out of fright. Waldemar opens the coffin and Genevieve cuts her arm when she pulls the silver Mayan cross from Wandessa's corpse, and some of her blood drips on Wandessa's skeletal mouth. Wandessa rises from her coffin that night and calls Genevieve to join her in the garden, where she feeds on Genevieve, then on Elizabeth. Genevieve, who is turned into a vampire by Wandessa, tries to feed on Elvira, but Waldemar chases her away with the Mayan cross. When the two vampires have left, Elvira confesses her love for Waldemar, because a day with a complete stranger is enough to make her forget her detective boyfriend, who left on business, and the two decide to fight Wandessa together. After Waldemar convinces Elvira to go to the village during the full moon, she gets a ride from the creepiest handyman ever. The next morning, Elvira finds Waldemar wandering in tattered clothes, so he tells her how he became a werewolf and how only being stabbed in the heart with the Mayan cross by someone who loves him will release him from the curse. Very convenient that they fell in love after one day. Waldemar goes hunting for Wandessa's lair. When Elvira is alone, Genevieve sneaks in and feeds on her. Waldemar doesn't find Wandessa, but he does run into Genevieve as she tries to return to the lair and kills her, which releases Elvira and heals the bite marks on her neck. That night, Elvira places Waldemar in shackles because it's another full moon, but he escapes just in time to save her from being assaulted by the handyman who was there at night for reasons. The next morning, while Elvira is in bed with Waldemar, her detective boyfriend Marcel drives into town. He asks around town about Elvira's whereabouts and hears strange stories about Wandessa, black magic, vampires, and young girls dying, all told by the most extra of extras. Marcel decides to pay Waldemar a visit. When Marcel shows up at Waldemar's house, Elvira greets him, but Marcel realizes that something is going on between Elvira and Waldemar. Marcel threatens to launch a full-scale investigation into the rumors surrounding Waldemar with no actual authority and no jurisdiction, which he actually admits to. So Waldemar, for some reason, talks Elvira into leaving with Marcel. That night, with Elvira gone and safe, Waldemar continues his search for Wandessa. However, Wandessa is holding Marcel and Elvira in her lair while she prepares to make Elvira a blood sacrifice to Satan. Just as Wandessa is about to kill Elvira, however, Waldemar wanders in and rescues her. The full moon rises just in time, and Waldemar transforms into a werewolf. Waldemar attacks Wandessa and kills her, which transforms her back into a rotting corpse once more. Elvira then grabs the Mayan cross and buries it into the werewolf's heart. Waldemar returns to his human form as he dies, and Elvira and Marcel leave the tomb with their arms around each other. And thus ends the movie. I have to say, The Werewolf versus the Vampire Woman is kind of a chore to watch. It's like a poorly colorized 1930s movie that came out in the 70s and didn't learn any of the lessons that cinema offered to learn in the meantime. The visuals are poor. When the scenes are dark, you can't see what's happening. When they're bright, they're so oversaturated that it almost hurts to look at the screen. And when the light is just right, everything just looks dull and boring. The sound is muffled, the dialogue is too quiet to hear most of the time, and when it can be understood, it's poorly delivered with a script that plays out like an angsty teenager wrote it while trying to seem serious and legitimate. The story has a decent idea, but a lot of it is just forced, especially the love story. It's not a movie I recommend watching for enjoyment, but it may be worth watching as some form of inspiration for monster versus monster stories. series. All in all, The Werewolf versus the Vampire Woman is a dull movie that I had to struggle to watch and stay invested in. It's not one I can recommend, but that's just my opinion. You might like it. But that does it for today's Halloween review. I hope you all enjoyed the video. If you did, please consider giving it a like. If you didn't, please give it a dislike and let me know why in the comments. I hope you all have a great day, and as always, stay positive.